Some things from the past should stay there without being reawakened. Some stories and memories forgotten for good. Some things should remain hidden. These are the things awaiting you in the shadows of mystery. Do you recall ever seeing something that looked somehow wrong? Not merely old or broken, and not even just out of place. Just wrong. Like it was never really meant to exist. Or maybe it didn't belong in the moment it appeared in. Sort of like if you met a being from another dimension, or if modern technology somehow showed up in the Stone Age. That's what came through the sliding glass doors at the Kennedy Regional Airport on a Friday morning that otherwise had no business being memorable. It's a busy enough place, but nothing remotely spectacular ever happened. It was work. And any way you look at it, it's work. And after enough days of work, one day just bleeds into the next, until they all seem like one long day. That is, until one particular morning, because that's the day Flight 147's luggage came back. The flight had been scheduled 10 years earlier, November 22nd, 1953. L.A. to New Orleans, with Kennedy as the short stop in between. But the flight never made it. They canceled it right before boarding, due to what they called an unusually localized weather event. An unusually localized weather event. Nevertheless, the storm cells did hit fast. Darkness quickly blocked out the sun. Powerful winds crashed on the scene as if on assignment. It was sudden, unexpected, and it almost felt as if it was personal. And it seemed to be over as soon as it started, like time had stood still, as if time itself, had to stop and mourn. But who was it mourning for? This was the first day that I encountered John Fitzgerald. Well, not John Fitzgerald himself, rather his airport luggage, more specifically, one suitcase. The suitcase had a tag that read on one side, John Fitzgerald, November 22nd, 1953, and 36-year-old male, Navy, and residence, Boston, on the other. And attached to the tag was a boarding pass with the words Flight 147 visible. John Fitzgerald, November 22nd, 1953, 36 years of age, U.S. military, Navy, resident of Boston. But on that day, his luggage arrived. He himself, however, did not. His suitcase showed up, somehow, in the airport system. It was just there. But where it came from, or how it got there, no one knew. It was almost as if it appeared during the storm, or worse, that the storm itself had brought it. But no one knew. There were simply no answers. That is, until 10 years later, 10 years to the day, when that same suitcase, once again, rolled off baggage carousel number 2. I remember it vividly, more than remember it. It's more like I'm reliving it, always. November 22nd, 1963. It was early. No other flights scheduled for an hour. This was the only show in town, so to speak. But I was on shift, running the terminal desk. The alarm pinged that Carousel 2 had activated, So I looked up from my paperwork and saw a single piece of luggage turning slowly on the belt. It was tan leather, scuffed at the corners. The tag on the suitcase read, John Fitzgerald, November 22nd, 1953, on one side, and 36-year-old male, Navy, and residence Boston, on the other. Same as before. And yet again, attached to the tag, was a boarding pass with the words, Flight 147, visible. It looked as if it had not aged one day in 10 years. Not like it had been sitting in a back closet for a decade. No rust, no visible signs of aging at all, actually. Not even any dust, if you can believe that. However, it was chilled to the touch, like it had come from cold storage. And it was... I don't know how to put this. I don't know if this will even make sense, but regardless, the suitcase felt lonely. I didn't know prior to that a suitcase could feel lonely. But this one did. Nevertheless, I sort of came back to myself. And then, for some dumb reason, called my supervisor. She assumed it was an old bag, finally misplaced back into circulation. Told me to hold on to it and write an incident report. But I didn't touch it. Not right away. I just stared, because there was something off about it. And I stared, and stared, and stared. And I eventually came to myself. And as I did, I was still staring at it, as if mesmerized but unaware. As I came to, I became aware that I was looking beneath the tan leather handle, where there was a tiny white sticker. No barcode, no airport code, just a date. November 22nd, 1963. The next day. I brought the suitcase into the office. We scanned it. No digital tag registered. No baggage ID in the system. But when we X-rayed it, it showed normal contents. Clothes, shoes, a shaving kit. So we opened it. Everything inside looked ordinary at first. Pressed shirts, a pair of dress shoes, one black notebook. But the clothes, they were bone dry, yet warm to the touch, as if they'd just come out of a dryer. And the notebook? Blank, every page, except the last. It had just 4 words and 2 initials written in ink that looked half faded, half wet. The words read,
Mere mortals never speak.
And the initials were
J.L.
Security reviewed the camera footage. Carousel 2 had started spinning, but no handler, no truck, no mechanical trigger had activated it. Just the bag, appearing, no origin point. No delivery. Just there. That night I stayed late, pulled up the flight logs, cross-referenced the manifest. John Fitzgerald had been one of only 2 people rerouted who never boarded the backup flight. The other, one Jack Lewis. But he was never heard of. Nothing more than someone who missed his flight as far as the airlines were concerned. But John? Gone. No banking, no trace. Nothing. Until this bag. Then I found something else, in the inside zipper pocket of the suitcase. Stuffed behind the lining was a picture. A striking dark-haired woman, classy, elegant, no name. Just a face. I stared at it longer than I should have, again, as if I were mesmerized and found myself coming to. Strangely, the photo was lost, as if it was waiting to be found somehow. I could feel its intensity as I held it, Strangely, I had no idea what it meant, but it was lost. How a small, unframed photo could feel so lost is still so strange to me, but it was as if that single small photo had carried the weight of the world on its shoulders and lost it all. So unfortunate. That night I couldn't sleep, kept thinking about the sticker on the bag. The date, the name, the person, or more accurately, the lack of a person. The next day, when I came back to the office the next morning, the suitcase was gone. No evidence record, no camera footage, no paper trail. Like it was never there at all. But the photo? Still on my desk. What had happened? What was going on? Where was the suitcase? There was only a photo. Even checked rental car logs in case he ever showed up. And that's when I found something strange. The employee who checked John Fitzgerald into our terminal 10 years ago. The one who processed his original bag before the flight was canceled. His name was listed in our system, and it was Jack Lewis, first and last name, no middle initial, no date of birth date, but no ID photo, nothing else, just one entry. November 22nd, 1963. The problem was, no Jack Lewis had ever worked here. Ever. I showed it to my supervisor. She thought it was a database error. Some glitch. Maybe an old record that got corrupted. But I don't know. Because when I went back to my desk, the photo, the sad photo that I previously mentioned, it was gone. And in its place, a tobacco smoking pipe. No photo. Instead, a pipe. The pipe, too, had a heaviness about it. No, not a physical heaviness, but more like the heaviness of a wearied and well-contented traveler. It was as if the pipe was somehow communicating.
It might not look like it, but I made it home.
Made it home, made it home. If he never even made it to the airport, then how did he make it home? To this day, I have no idea. No answers, only a tobacco pipe and some strange memories. Unusually localized weather events? Time itself in mourning. Luggage with no claimants. Twice, 10 years apart. A lonely suitcase. A heavy pipe. A lost photo. You might be wondering, what might all of this mean? What does all of this mean? And what is the moral of this story? Well, my weary and well-contented travelers, the moral of this story was the story itself. Thank you for listening. Until next time, assuming there is a next time, stay sharp and stay curious, because you never know what's lurking beneath the shadows of mystery.